I just had to start off today with this insane clip playing in the background. That right there is called Charger Bronco riding. I think it needs to be in the Helldiver Olympics for 2154. And I couldn't tell you what the hell happened here, but you know, we took full advantage of this wild glitch, and hopefully we impressed General Brash. Anyways, leave me a score in the comment section, 1 to 10 on the technique and that dismount. You know, I'm thinking this is an 11, but that's just me. Welcome to the channel, it's LtBuzzLitebeer, and we've got weapon balance changes on the menu for today, including a massive error I made in yesterday's video, staffing changes over at Arrowhead, another patch, I was hoping to fix the last patch, but it wasn't, and of course lots more. You know, it's a full schedule for today. Thanks again for your awesome and continued support. In case you haven't done so already, make sure to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. And let's touch all the bases today with Helldivers. Alright, you know I love to kick things off with the new Superstore, and right now we're in the middle of a 48-hour reset, which includes the B-24 Enforcer Hybrid Medium Heavy Armor with Fortified for 50% resistance to explosive damage, the matching B-24 Stormtrooper-esque helmet, the CE-74 Breaker helmet, and the CE-74 Breaker Lightweight Armor with Engineering Kit for +2 grenades. And remember, tomorrow is when the new War Bond drops, so you may want to save up those super credits to purchase that, and we already know it's coming with 3 new armor sets, along with a whole host of other items. Checking in on the current major order outside of flipping those negative Steam reviews back to positive, and we have 48 hours to go on this one. Heath is now fully liberated. Angel's Venture is right around 58% complete. Veld might as well be at 0%, and Akamar 4 is basically in that same boat. Now, I'm beginning to sweat just a bit on this one. We are basically 1.5 planets into a round of 4 and only 48 hours to knock it out. If you can log on and help out, I know it's midweek, which is not the ideal time for many players, but anything you can do to assist would be appreciated. Also, today's daily order for 15 medals is to knock out 6 side objectives. Looping back around to yesterday into that balance patch, and I just wanted to say that I was flat out, undeniably wrong concerning what I said about the Eruptor. TLDR here is that I thought I would get cute and try to multitask while getting ready to do the school daddy drop-off thing yesterday morning, and so I logged on, kind of half paying attention to the game, saw the Eruptor changes in the patch notes, and said to myself, hey man, you've got 10 minutes or so, why not try to knock it out before you do the video? And I did. But what I didn't pay attention to was the version of the game I was playing, and since I didn't have Steam set to auto-update, I was using the pre-yesterday version of the Eruptor, and I should have been using the most current post-patch version, so to me, it didn't feel like it does now. So again, so sorry, I was wrong. The current Eruptor, despite that claimed +40 damage bonus, feels like absolute dog poo. The footage that's been playing in these fresh clips I recorded this morning on the latest version of the Eruptor, yes, I can confirm that, this thing brings back memories of that famous Godfather clip. Now, when the Eruptor first launched, it was unquestionably S-tier, best in class, whatever you want to call it, as it had great base damage, tons of ammo, explosion effects, and shrapnel. I mean, it was really, really good, and everyone knew it, including Arrowhead. Now, since the Democratic Detonation War Bond launch, the Eruptor has had its base ammo counts cut in half, explosion damage drop-off increased, gone through a zany ricochet Helldiver killing few days there, to now having the shrapnel completely removed from the weapon mechanics while picking up some base damage. Now, I don't dive into decimal point weapon testing for Helldivers. Instead, you know, I just kind of take it into the field and give it a whirl. If it feels good and downs targets quickly, it's fine by me. If not, if it takes too long and leaves me exposed, I won't use it. And right now, this current version of the Eruptor is not something I would take into a Helldive mission. And this is just me personally saying this. I'm sure some of you out there may think this thing is fine, but it just doesn't jive with my playstyle. This led to something happening yesterday as players started logging in and trying to get a hold of these new changes, kind of wrap their minds around them, and some irregularities were then noted, one of them being the Eruptor. And this prompted a response from Twinbeard saying there were several items that they were looking into that just didn't seem to be working as intended when it came down to yesterday's patch. But we also seem to have received a pretty lengthy post from Alexis, the game balance dev, explaining the dev thought process for removing shrapnel, because it was killing Helldivers, that plus 40 damage, and an exploit. Don't know if I would have used that to describe it. Instead, let's call it a skilled technique for getting high damage shots on heavily armored targets. At least that's where I think they were headed with their post. As it sits right now, here is where the studio is at. We can't bring the shrapnel back the way it was. We don't want it to one-shot chargers, and we don't want it to have a chance to kill you or your teammates. We have a cluster bomb for that. I still strongly believe that the Eruptor benefits from the dealing less damage more consistently. So, it's a net minus if you're lucky or are using an exploit, and a net plus otherwise. However, we're still investigating if this change has affected any breakpoints against medium enemies, and we will look into that. I won't promise that it will definitely be buffed, as the weapon in its current state is still absolutely viable, but it's always on our radar. For me, in its current state, the Eruptor is not a weapon I would pick. I mean, I've already said as much. It just feels slow, has lost that multi-target punch, throws cotton balls at heavier targets, and I find the handling, again, to just be wonky, and that damn reload, even with no ammo in the mag, has gotten me killed more than once. Again, just my opinions here on the weapon itself, but it certainly brings up the topic, or should I say question, of why the devs seem to constantly meddle with primary weapon balance in a PvE horde-style shooter. For players, we want to feel powerful. It's all about engaging with a game that really strokes that player power fantasy adrenaline drip, and when we get those weapons, we don't want them nerfed. I mean, too many times, it feels like the dev side is living in the world of spreadsheets, pick rates, power deltas, and all that other technical jargon, and they forget the single most important factor to the players: is it fun? Looking back on it, this seems to have all begun to spiral downward for the Eruptor when they made that change to the really juiced up ricochets, as it created this insta-kill effect, and it got so bad that they've now removed shrapnel altogether, instead of fixing or outright removing the ricochets, or just making armor immune to shrapnel. There's also this question of the studio's previous statements about how they wanted us to lean more heavily on our stratagems to deal with bigger targets. Our primaries were there for the high-density, low-health mobs, the chaff. And then we were supposed to bring out the big guns like eagles, like orbitals, and heavy weaponry to deal with elites, which I can totally get on board with. But what about when we attempt to dive in and there is anti-air support as a modifier? So now we only have 3 strats instead of 4, and then on top of that there's a higher cooldown timer or a higher call-in timer. In that case, the base game strategy that the devs want us to use, primary for chaff, strats for heavies, really gets muddied up, which is why we like to have beefy primary weapons. I don't personally envy the devs in this situation. As players, we all want more and more power, stronger buffs across the board, while they have to try to balance out the needs versus the wants. Still, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but we haven't seen a consistent method to how this team approaches weapon balancing, as they tend to nerf first and not ask for feedback or forgiveness once it is done. Speaking of forgiveness, it looks like Spitz has been let go as a community manager over at Arrowhead. There's been a series of Discord messages popping up, and there's also a bit of confusion surrounding this topic. I've seen posts that this is a done deal, no longer at Arrowhead. I've seen other posts saying that Spitz has been demoted from their duties as CM, but they are still with Arrowhead. I mean, I honestly don't have a 100% answer for this, but one thing is for sure, Spitz was right when they said that telling people to review bomb and refund a game isn't a popular decision with the publisher. Now here's the thing, and once again, just my opinion, but without Spitz hitting the airwaves and outright telling players to post those negative reviews, to go refund the game, etc., etc., we would not have gotten onto Sony's radar concerning this PSN mandatory login issue the way that we did. The fact that a studio CM was actually saying that first is just freaking insane. I mean, I've never seen a CM say something like that, but the fact that they did also served as a directional focus beam for us to do just that. And in the end, the whole damn thing worked. Since I now have my game set to auto updates, I was able to get the latest version of the game this morning because we got yet another new update. 1.000.303 went live early this morning, and everything here, which by the way is not much, is aimed at crash fixes. Now, you know how this works. Arrowhead fixes something, they add something new into the game, and something else becomes broken, and it turns out that there was a crash related to damage over time, which, after yesterday, is working pretty well. There were also 2 items related to hot joining quick play sessions, one involving joining a party that became full, while the other was a known issue about recent players that were in hot join parties not showing up in the recent players tab until they hit planetside, or not at all if they drop party in the loadout screen. Alright, that's it for today. We've got, of course, the new War Bond dropping tomorrow, and expect me to post a video about that one, especially the new armor and weapons. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials, of course, can be found in the video description below, including an open invite link to my fast-growing Helldivers Discord community. We are so close to hitting 225,000 channel subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you for sticking with me and supporting my content. By the way, make sure to leave me a score on that Charger dismount in the comment section. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.